Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, no pun intended. So, the P-47D Thunderbolt was released yesterday, and so was the channel map. Today I wanted to do my first impressions video of the P-47D, and let's take a look and see what you get. So, I'm pleasantly surprised with the background music, which is exclusive to the P-47D. I like when they do that and put their own little touch on it instead of using that generic DCS music. Very nice wallpaper as well for the background. Let's take a look and see what we get under instant action for the P-47D Thunderbolt. Wow! I am pleasantly surprised for once. Under the default map, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 missions. Whoa, that's awesome. Let's see what we get for Nevada. 2 missions, free flight and then ranged target strike. Normandy map, 3 missions. I'm a little bummed about that. I would think for the Normandy map they would have given you more. Persian Gulf map, 2 missions, free flight and shipping cover, and the new channel map, which has to be purchased separately. I've seen a lot of confusion online where people are like, hey man, where's the channel map? I bought the P-47. I think the problem is, and I'm not going to say they did this on purpose, but Eagle Dynamics putting out that video with like the P-47 and the channel map together, kind of mentioning that, hey, you know, these are released, kind of gave people the wrong impression. And I think the previews that a lot of people put out too was the P-47D and the channel map together like that. So it almost made it seem like they went together. And technically they do go together, but they don't come together. And right now they're both on sale for a whopping $40. I mean, it's 20% off, which is $10 off, but man, $50 for a warplane for DCS is really hard for me to swallow, and $50 for a map is too, but I haven't dug into this yet, so I really can't say for certain, so I'm not going to knock the channel map yet. Let's see what we get for the channel. Hey, that's impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 missions. What is up with these guys? Are they really trying to appeal to me? Because they must know how I really feel about all these other warbirds. And I've been pretty critical of the warbirds in DCS. So I'll say this, in comparison, I'm pleasantly surprised by the number of instant action missions they give you. Even if Nevada and Normandy, they really don't give you much, and Persian Gulf, they don't give you much, but I'm pleasantly surprised by the number of missions they give you for the channel and the default map. So I think they're listening and possibly getting better at this. Alright, let's take a look at missions and see what we get there. 3 missions. Can't say I'm surprised by this. They're always weak at giving you missions. So combat mission in the default map, roads and rails. Combat mission top cover. And 1 mission for the channel map. In comparison, if you go to the P-51, there's 4 missions for the default map. Spitfire, 2 missions for just the default map. The Dora, 3 missions for the default map. So I guess in comparison you can say they're getting better because they decided to include a single mission for one of the other maps. And the moment of truth, is there a campaign? And the answer is no. And again, in their defense, I will say it is early access. It just got released yesterday. But in comparison, as you see in the Spitfire here, these 2 campaigns here for the Spitfire, they'd never put out a campaign for the Spitfire yet either. You had to buy these. So this is one of my biggest complaints with the warbirds in DCS. Yeah, I know it was released just yesterday and it's in early access, but how long has the Spitfire been out and it doesn't have a campaign? The P-51. I purchased this campaign, the Blue-Nosed Bastards of Bodni, and it only comes with the P-51 Challenge campaign. Kind of a bummer, because it's just a generic vanilla campaign. The Dora has a challenge campaign. It does not have a typical combat campaign. So do you see a trend here? So they have a habit of coming out with all these warbirds and not offering a campaign. Or if they do, it's a generic, you know, challenge campaign. And the good ones you have to purchase by like Reflected Simulations, which I'm not going to knock it. The guy makes great stuff, but it's an additional cost, you know. It's something that I think should be included with these modules. And this is the weakness that DCS has when it comes to their warbirds. And Eagle Dynamics in general is pushing out this stuff and just selling you a plane and going, here, find something to do with it.
This is a free flight mission. May use to become familiar with basic aircraft handling or just explore the area. There are no threats.
Alright, we are in the default map free flight. Try to get up in the light a little bit better here, and I'm going to hit active pause and we'll take a look around the cockpit. Man, that looks more metallic now. That's really nice. You know, that's one thing I could never ever knock Eagle Dynamics for, is just the level of detail that they pack into every single cockpit that they ever create. It's just amazing what they do in these cockpits. And you can even see the little wires behind there. Look at that handle. I think they're really good at doing like the wear and tear, you know? Although that looks like brand new metal practically right there. Almost looks a little out of place in here, doesn't it? But again, it's early access, so I'd imagine some of this may change a little bit. What is this? Flight map reports. I can't click that though. We got some buttons here. And as one might expect, all of this stuff is fully clickable, as usual. Very nice. You know, I have to give them credit where credit is due. I'm starting to think this is probably the nicest warbird cockpit they've done yet. Alright, from the outside it looks fantastic too. Very pretty plane. Really nice animation in the gear coming out. There we go. Now they're starting to go up. Fantastic model with beautiful texture. And this is the default map. So this isn't like one of the World War II environments, and it still looks pretty damn awesome. Give it some juice here. Man, it looks really good. Now I'm running it, I believe, like 2560 by 1080. This is just one of the widescreen formats. I usually run in 3840 by 1080 because it fills the entire screen on my super ultra wide Asus monitor. That the native resolution is 3840 by 1080, which is essentially two 27-inch panels next to each other, although it's a single panel with a 144 Hz refresh rate, which to me is pretty impressive because it gives me that wider view, and I have a much better view of my surroundings when I'm not in VR. And anymore, I'm starting to prefer playing flight sims with my TrackIR 5 and my monitor versus VR, because VR performance is just abysmal. DCS is really tough on VR. Last week's Super Carrier brought a little bit better performance with that open beta update, but after having flown a lot of IL-2 and their newest update, they had great VR performance to begin with, and now it's even better. So if you've never flown it, then you don't know what you're missing, and this may be acceptable. But if you have flown it and know what kind of great VR performance is, then, you know, you start to appreciate what the other guys can do, and you hold out and hope that the most beautiful flight sim ever, which is DCS World, would eventually be able to hit that performance. But I guess with the added extra visual flair that DCS has, there's a price to be paid. So flying it feels pretty good. I'm no expert on warbirds, but it feels like a fun little plane. It feels a little heavy to me, maybe, compared to like the Mustang. And the Spitfire. It's a big giant radial engine on the nose of this thing. I know I've flown this in IL-2 a lot, and I just did not feel that in IL-2 is a very effective plane for me and my playstyle. Alright, here we are in the free flight over Normandy, which is the free flight 66-1944.
This is a free flight mission, and you use it to become familiar with basic aircraft handling or just explore the area. There are no threats.
Now this looks a little bit more like the proper environment for this plane to be in. This looks like the same mission that they have for the F-16, which is the free flight over Normandy on June 6, 1944. I think it's literally the same mission, just with a different plane. Look at that, they're doing some firing on them over there. There was a nice big splash in the water up ahead. Take a cruise up the coastline here. There's a nice little fortification down there. There's another impact in the water there. Really not a fan of this view either. It's just like, here, let's stick you right next to the nose of the plane instead of over the shoulder. This is the F4 view that's usually over the shoulder. Not a fan of when they do this. a lot going on in the distance there. Alright, so technically this is absolutely my first look at the channel map in the P-47D. And again, the channel map is an additional cost. It does not come with the P-47D. Just to clarify one more time, because there's been a lot of confusion of that online recently.
A dozen BF-109K cores are off your nose, closing fast. Alley-o.
Alright, here we go. Oh man, this thing's wobbly. This is definitely no Spitfire. Holy crap. Yeah, I'm down to no airspeed, so maneuvering is a little iffy. It's definitely going to take relearning flying to get the most out of this thing. However, I point the nose down and I really pick up some speed quickly here, which is nice. But I am definitely not keeping up with these guys very effectively. Yeah, I'm just not going to be able to loop over with these guys very easily in this thing. This is a thick plane. This is no Mustang, that's for sure. Or Spitfire, for that matter. Come on, don't black out. Come on, let me get this guy. See, I just can't keep up with these guys. Yeah, I'm not sure I like this plane, to be honest. Yep. Going down. Well, it looks a little funky all tore apart, too. Looks like they probably got some work to do on that yet. Well, at least the flames isn't coming from a part on the wing as if it's still attached. They've addressed that, which is nice. I think the other issue is, and I saw this in Spudknocker's video, is he talked about that it was just frustrating to try to fly against the AI. And I've seen others talking about how the German AI is just like, you know, unmatched. They're just crazy good. Now, in a Spitfire or a Mustang, I've actually fared pretty well in most of these planes. In those little, you know, quick dogfight missions and whatnot. I've usually done pretty good at that. In this thing, I'm just not that effective because it has to be flown differently. And it just seems to just chew off airspeed so quickly. And because I'm learning it, these guys are just going to chew me up so fast, and I can't pull a loop over that easily with these guys. Especially these guys chasing me down. And again, it feels heavy. It really does feel heavy to me. Yeah, this is definitely a different plane altogether. If you're used to the Mustang or the Spitfire, I have a feeling you're not going to like this plane. It's definitely heavier, thicker. It's going to take some different tactics to utilize this thing better. Yep, there we go. There's that wonderful damage model. Alright, here's another mission. This is the over the channel, this is the ground attack mission. Ahead of you at the large fire are static and moving ground targets to engage.
Ahead of you at the large fire are static and moving ground targets to engage.
What do I have? guess I'm supposed to do this with guns. Okay. Okay. Man, this thing's shaky. Oh, there we go. I got something. Wow, all that smoke is lagging me a little bit. Holy crap. Okay, and... Man, this thing is heavy, man. This is just a little bit difficult for me to fly. Something told me to wait, but, you know, I had to get out there. I had to try to get out there with the coverage because I know everybody wants to see it and know what it's all about, so here I am. Wish I had some rockets or bombs. I haven't looked at it in the mission editor yet to see what it has, but look how bouncy this thing is. It's literally all over the place, and I am barely moving the stick. Those guys are running for it. Seems really wobbly. And then the weird thing is if you look in the glass right there, the HUD or whatever, I guess, I keep seeing those two like round stains on the glass. And like I said, I don't know if that's supposed to be like representing my goggles or what, but it's very annoying. And I don't think I like it very much. There's a bunch more targets on the ground over here. Very hard to get this as a stable platform here. Yeah, this thing is finicky, very touchy. And I've already set a slight curve for my pitch and my yaw. At least what I normally set, and it still seems very finicky. Very hard to be precise down low, or to dive in at least. And all this smoke is not helping my FPS very much. Yeah, I can't see shit through that. All I can see is those little marks from the goggles. That was a nice kill, though. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's definitely different though. And the best description of this thing I think I can give is that it's heavy. It really feels heavy in hand. And I use a Thrustmaster Hotas Warthog joystick with a TWCS throttle and T-Flight pedals. And my stick is rather sturdy. Has a good amount of tension to it. I don't have any mods on it. It's the default Warthog springs, and I'd say it's worn in. It's about a year old, but this thing just feels heavy compared to other warbirds I have, like the Spitfire, the Mustang, the Dora. very, very difficult keeping this thing steady to do some vulching in it. I have a feeling it's going to grow on me, but I can't hit a goddamn thing in the air with this thing yet because it's so heavy, and it seems to bleed speed so fast, and it doesn't seem to get it back very quick. So I'm a little bit at a loss as to how to make the best of this thing at the moment. There's a couple targets in here, but this damn smoke is in the way. As for the channel map itself, I'm going to look at that separately. But what you see in this video is it's pretty cool. I think it looks a little better than the Normandy map. I haven't dug into any, detailed regions or places that they've put more detail into others just yet, other than this little area right here, which looks rather nice. It looks like a small industrial area along a river, maybe a small town that has some sort of industry. Looks like a couple factories down there, a couple bridges. And my understanding is you get bombs with this. They apparently didn't arm me with any for this ground attack mission, which I thought was kind of odd. Hey, that's a nice shot right there. Let me put it on active pause and take a look in that cockpit. Really nice shot of the cockpit. Now the lighting's hitting it just right. So yeah, I would have to say that they did a fantastic job in the cockpit, and it's probably one of the nicest cockpits in the Warbirds that they've ever done. It really looks crisp, detailed. Everything can be made out rather well. Let's take a look at the training missions and see what they give you. P-47. Wow. I am pleasantly surprised. I did not expect to find this much. Introduction and cockpit overview, aircraft startup, run-up check, taxi and takeoff, aircraft handling, landing and shutdown, gun operation and aerial gunnery, air-to-ground gunnery, and dive bombing. So in comparison, you get about the same amount with the P-51. In the Spitfire, though, they only give you like 4 missions, and that's kind of a bummer. So technically, the P-51 has a few more missions than the P-47, and then the Dora has less. So I will give them credit where credit is due, and they did a fantastic job by rounding out the training for this. Very nice. So overall, the P-47D for DCS World, in the aerial role, it really is a boom and zoom fighter, and that's something I just am not that good at yet. So it's going to take some time for me to get the most out of it. It really is. In the air-to-ground role, at present, there are no rockets. There's an AN-M30A1 bomb, an AN-M57 bomb, an AM-M64 bomb, and an AN-M65 bomb that I found in the mission editor under payload for this thing. So it looks like there's only 4 bombs modeled at present. There are no rockets or anything yet. I'm not sure if this thing ever carried rockets either, to be historically accurate. But it's also known as being a very good air-to-ground fighter. And I seem to do pretty good, I guess, with the guns alone. It's taken some getting used to, and after making the video footage for this video, I tweaked my rudders a little bit better so they're less twitchy, and I gave it a bit more of a curve and a dead zone to kind of tweak things a little bit better, and I'm doing a little bit better with it now. But it definitely required different settings than what I used, say, for my P-51 or the Spitfire or even the Dora, which was great at air-to-ground. It's just a different plane. So I think if you're used to the Spitfire and the P-51 and the Dora, you might be disappointed with this one, because it takes flying completely differently and is a completely different mindset and requires a different set of skills to get the most out of this. And again, that's something I have to work on and learn how to do better. So while I am not enjoying it that much at the moment because I suck at boom and zoom tactics, it's something that's going to get better for me, I guess, in time. Others will probably jump right in and be right at home. DCS Warbirds is the thing that I want to love so bad because it looks so beautiful and they are fun to fly. But it's just missing so much still. And again, this is a push in the right direction. The P-47 and the channel map are things that had to happen. And the Marianas map that's coming up, I think, is going to be a great thing too. But they really need to roll out the better damage modeling. They really need to roll out better AI and content. You know, it's clear that they're really not the best content providers. That's the thing they're missing. I don't know that if it's just they never thought of hiring people to do this, or they just don't care. But like the third-party guys like Reflected Simulations do such a great job of that. And Baltic Dragon, the campaigns this guy creates for people, you know, for Razbam and the stuff that he's doing. It should be a more complete product, I guess, is my biggest gripe, and it's not. You know, the modern stuff feels a little bit more complete when you get those. You got a campaign, you've got a bunch of missions, you got a bunch of training missions, and things just feel a little bit more polished overall. And again, I know the argument is this is early access, it's going to get better, but look at the Spitfire. Look at the P-51D Mustang. Look at the Dora. Look at all the other Warbirds I own. How old are they? And they're in the same state as this P-47 right now, like in terms of content. They just don't have much. So when this thing goes on sale for $25, I think it'll be, you know, well worth it. It's very frustrating because I want to love the Warbirds in DCS. I really, really do. And they're so beautiful and they're so enticing, and they just, you know, they just impress you. You know what I mean? You look at them, you get in there, you fly them, you're just like, oh, this is so cool. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with it now? You know, I'm not into online multiplayer. So what do you do with it as the, you know, single player offline guy? Well, you run through the handful of instant action missions, and then you get bored. Because the create fast mission generator that comes with DCS is garbage, and it always has been. And you can create your own missions, but that takes a little bit of effort. So it's just difficult. I think they have a long way to go yet. But the P-47 does represent one of the better offerings that they've ever released. And I'm not going to knock them for the hard work that they've done, because it's apparent, you know. To be completely fair and honest, it's a beautiful module. But again, my thing is that $40 at 20% off still just isn't worth it. $25 when it's 50% off on sale 6 months from now, I think it'll be well worth the price of admission. But without a campaign and better AI to fight against solo and a better damage model, it's just really hard to swallow. So that is my first impressions of the P-47D Thunderbolt from Eagle Dynamics for DCS World. Again, it's on sale right now. I'm not sure how long, but it is on sale for 20% off, so it is $39.99 at the moment. And that's how you can get your hands on it. And keep in mind the channel map is separate, and I know it's been kind of represented in videos as two things that kind of go together. But they are two separate products, because I'm down $80 to have picked up the P-47D and the channel map both. And I was really reluctant to do it because I expected this. You know what I mean? I just knew what to expect, and I had hoped for a little more. And I'll say this, I was pleasantly surprised that there was more instant action missions than I thought they would have given us. So it is probably the better World War II module out of all the ones that they have, and it looks like they did take their time and tried to do a better job with this and give us a little bit more, but it's still not enough, I think, is where I'm at with it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit that like button, and until next time.